this video, we will create a upload resume plugin. Let me show you what it does. Now, consider this is a page where your visitor want to upload a resume. So here he would fill this form and he would choose which job he is applying. Let me choose web developer and I'll choose a file. So I have a resume which is fake resume. Click on it, and if you click on apply, you will see a message saying that application is submitted. Once the application is submitted, as a website owner, you want to see how many resumes has been applied. So in that case, you will get into the dashboard and we have a custom post type. If you click on it, you'll find the recent uploaded resume. So UI mode is a guy, this is his email ID, this is his phone number, this is his job the job that he is applied for, and if you click on it, you can view the resume. So as of now, this is fake resume. So this is the resume that he has applied. Cool. So without wasting time, let's see how I have created it. Now to have anything in place, you have to, let's just uninstall the plugin first so that it doesn't conflict with our current one. So deactivate. Now in the plugins folder, you need to create a new folder and we'll call it as, the right name to give is, let's just give it as resumes. So let's just name it as resumes. New folder, resume. Now we want a new file, which is a PHP file that should have the plugin name. So we can have any name in this plugin. So let's just stick to resume itself. Now we need to give information about this plugin. For the bare minimum, we just need plugin name. Now if you refresh, you'll find a new row with name resumes. So this is coming from this line. Now what we need. So here you will see this page is actually coming from a shortcode. So the shortcode is actually this one. So let's create a shortcode first. Now in the shortcode, what do we have? We have forms, we have CSS of this form, and we have a JavaScript of this form. So let's call that. So now let's call that. So this is going to be the function name that is used to create a shortcode. So this is the shortcode name and this is a function. So whenever this shortcode is called, this function will get executed. So in this form, in this function, we have the CSS and we have a form. So in the form, it's very straightforward. Whenever we are going to submit a file, the form attribute should have multi-part. So that's there. Then we have an ID for the JavaScript. We have the input field, name, phone, email, and a drop down with two options. And then we have input type file. So this is input type file. And then we have input type hidden. So this is also required for the AJAX. So note this, and then we have a submit button. So in the JavaScript, whenever someone clicks on the apply form, all the data of the form should be stored as form data. So whenever I click on submit button, I get the form data and I store it in the form data. That's one thing. The second thing is, I want to send all this data through an AJAX. So for that, we need to hit the admin-ajax.php. And what are the data that we need to send? We need to send the form data and the post request. And then once the form gets executed, what should happen? We should get an application submitted message. So that's one thing. Now let's define what should happen when AJAX receives these form data. The main thing that links your data that is set through AJAX is action attribute. So if you remember, you will see the action attribute that you have sent through input type hidden. So this is the submit application. This value you have to see. Now we have noted this, and to properly link our form data to the AJAX file, what we do is, you can see it's getting highlighted, and whenever there is a request, AJAX request through an action attribute, and that action attribute we can manipulate it in this function. So that's what I did. So you can see at wp underscore ajax underscore the input type value for the hidden field. we have accessed it and we have used it as a hook, and then this function would get triggered. So now we are sending this data, and that data we can access it over here with the help of post variable. If you remember, input type, we have made form post on the AJAX value. We can see this value. Now we can access these variables, and also we can receive the file. So whenever we want to receive a file, and that file that has to be stored somewhere, so here we will be storing it in a place called media uploader. If you see here, there is an option called media uploader. So that is a reason that is a place that we need to store. So for that, I'm calling a class file.php, which is inside includes folder, which is inside wp admin. And what I need, I am passing the file from the form, which is file, and I'm saying I don't need any. This form is actually sent from shortcode, so that's why test form false. If it's not sent from shortcode, if it's using WordPress default form, we don't have to pass anything here. Since I'm passing it through a shortcode, it's required. That's one thing. Now, if the upload URL is set, we need to store those URL into a resume URL variable, and now it will have only the URL. So whenever you upload on the media uploader, you will receive an URL. That's what you are getting here. Now, since I'm not using custom database, I'm using the custom post type. So we have to create custom post type. Before this, let me create. Once I explain, I'll create a custom post type, and that custom post type is going to be applications. Let's just make this application 2. We will be creating a post type, custom post type, and we will publish it. So once we publish it, title and description would get saved. Along with title and description, I want the metadata, which is name, phone, email, job, and resume URL also to be stored along with the post type application 2. With the help of the ID, we can link our post with post meta. So if you know, WordPress has two tables, one is post and one is post meta. Post will have only title, description, and slug related information, and if you add some more information to a particular post, you can add it on the post meta table. That's what I'm doing here. And now let's create a custom post type so that we can see on the sidebar. Now we have named it as application 2. So this is a post type name. We have linked it over here, you can see. And then we have the label to be, let's just name it as resume. And is it public? No. Is it not public? Do you want to show it somewhere? No, I don't want to show somewhere on the page. So that's, if I activate this plugin, you should see resume to be applied. So actually you won't see it because we have made it false. Let's just make this true and check. So you can see it's there. So let's just make this false itself. Now whatever data that we have submitted has to be. Now I need to create a link or a submenu on the sidebar. Sorry, let's do that. So I want to add a menu, and this application will add. So we need the label. So we need the link of the CPT, the name. So we have page title. So this is page title. You can make this as resumes. Then we have menu title. We can still make it as resumes. And this is capability. So this is for the author. Do not worry about it. And this is a slug. What slug should be there? So resume. On the URL, it should say as resume. And this function is responsible for displaying the table, because we want to see all the submitted data. So that's why we have added a callback function, and this is the icon. And now you should see resumes. So once I click on it, the callback function has nothing, so you will see an error. So now let's define this callback function. So we will be using WP list table, which we have already seen many times. To make this short, what I'll do is I'll call the class that is responsible for displaying WP list table, so which is this one, class WP list table, and I'll create an object of the table. So let's create a object of the class which we would be extending. So here we will receive a class which is WPListTable, and we are extending it. So we'll use this class and create an object. Once it is created, we will use a function that is inside the WPListTable. So it's responsible for displaying the HTML over here, and that's it. And then we'll display the WPListTable with the help of function display. So these two functions are required. So this is responsible for rendering the table. This is responsible for displaying the table. Now, in the class which we get from WPListTable, we need get columns. So this get column is responsible for displaying the column header. We have name, email, phone, job, and resume. And then this prepare item is responsible for fetching the value from the table and displaying it. Since we are storing all the input field value in the form of custom post type, which we have named it as application_2. We'll fetch those value, and once it's fetched, we'll display it in the form of data. Now we have set the header, we have set the data inside the table with the help of item. So this is again coming from WPListTable, and we are passing the data. The data is, we have fetched the values from the post type application2. Now the third thing is, whenever there is a resume column appears, I want something to happen, what it should be. So whenever there is resume, so you can see if the column name is resume, I'm saying add an anchor tag and have a text called resume, and when I click on it, I want to see the resume, and that's it. You'll find the submitted data. So let's just try adding one. So this is new one, and the resume, and let's apply for web developer. Click on apply. If everything goes smooth, you'll find the data getting saved. And also in the resumes, you should find the recently added resume, so which is this one. So this is also working. You can see if I click on it, you'll find this function working properly, which is column default. So in the WPListTable, we have three functions. The one is get column, which is responsible for rendering the header. So if you want, you can, let's just make this as, place it over here and try pushing it. So you can see name has shifted. So this is for header, and prepare data is for the data which we receive from the database. We are fetching it from post type. So you can see get post type, and all the values, which is number 1, -1, and then we are fetching individual values. If it is name, if it is email, if it is phone, if it is job, if it is resume, all those has to be fetched. And if you want something, instead of directly fetching the value from the database, if you want to modify it, what you will do is you will use column display. Again, this is another function. And for displaying, again, we have prepare item and we have display. So this prepare item is actually, I'm calling it over here, and this is for displaying the HTML. And that's it. The scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening. We'll meet you tomorrow with another plugin.